Number 3. Natalia Dyer. Career, life, and rise to stardom. Natalia Dyer's journey into acting is a story shaped by quiet determination, artistic curiosity, and a steady rise that came not from flashy beginnings, but from a deep respect for the craft. Born in Nashville, Tennessee in 1995, Natalia grew up far from Hollywood, surrounded instead by the music, creativity, and storytelling culture of the American South. She wasn't a child pushed into fame. She was a girl who simply fell in love with the art of becoming someone else. Her first steps into acting began with local theater and school productions. Even then, teachers and directors noticed something special about her, an unusual level of emotional awareness and a natural ability to convey complex feelings with subtle expressions instead of exaggerated gestures. Natalia wasn't loud, she wasn't showy, but she could make an entire room lean in simply to watch her think. Her first on-screen opportunity came early when she landed a small role in Hannah Montana, the movie, 2009. It wasn't a star-making role, but it was enough to introduce her to the world of professional filmmaking. For many young actors, this kind of exposure becomes a turning point or a pressure point. For Natalia, it became a learning experience. She realized she wanted to build a long-lasting career, not chase quick fame. After high school, Natalia made a bold and thoughtful decision. She moved to New York City to study at NYU's Gallatin School of Individualized Study. Unlike traditional acting programs, Gallatin allowed her to shape her own curriculum. She studied performance, psychology, storytelling, art, and human behavior, everything that would later feed into her grounded, intelligent approach to acting. Her early film roles after NYU included indie projects like I Believe in Unicorns, 2014, where she played a troubled teenager seeking escape through imagination and adventure. Her performance drew attention at independent film festivals, with critics praising her delicate balance of vulnerability and emotional strength. It became clear that Natalia had a rare gift. She could carry emotional weight without ever appearing forced. Then came the audition that changed everything. In 2015, she read for a Netflix project shrouded in mystery. The creators were the Duffer Brothers. The series was Stranger Things, and the role was Nancy Wheeler, a smart, determined high schooler in a small town plagued by supernatural terror. Natalia walked into the audition room and delivered something the Duffers immediately recognized: authenticity. She didn't play Nancy as a stereotype. She didn't exaggerate her emotions. She played her as a real girl, intelligent, conflicted, curious, flawed. The casting directors saw in that performance the backbone of the show's emotional grounding. When Stranger Things premiered in 2016, viewers around the world were drawn to Nancy for that exact reason. Natalia brought a quiet, powerful presence to the screen that balanced the chaotic mystery of Hawkins with relatable human emotion. She wasn't the loudest character nor the most dramatic, but she became one of the most compelling. The industry noticed. Natalia and the cast won the Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Ensemble in a Drama Series, and she became a staple on red carpets around the world. Her fashion sense, elegant, soft, retro-inspired, turned her into an unexpected style icon, earning features in major magazines. Off-screen, Natalia is known for her introspective, thoughtful personality. She values privacy, deep conversations, and authenticity. She has spoken openly about anxiety, the pressures of the entertainment industry, and the importance of creative freedom. She avoids scandal and embraces the kind of quiet confidence that young actors rarely possess. In the years after Stranger Things, she expanded her portfolio with roles in Mountain Rest, Netflix's art thriller Velvet Buzzsaw, and the critically acclaimed coming-of-age drama Yes, God, Yes, where she delivered one of her strongest performances to date. But no matter how impressive her filmography becomes, Natalia Dyer will always be remembered first and foremost for her defining role as Nancy Wheeler, the character who transformed her from an indie actress into a global star. Nancy Wheeler, the character, her evolution and her legacy. Nancy Wheeler enters Stranger Things as the perfect picture of a typical 1980s high school girl, smart, polite, driven, and eager to fit in. But from her very first scenes, it's clear that Nancy isn't a stereotype. She has a sharp mind, a curious spirit, and a determination that quietly pushes against the expectations placed on her. At first, Nancy's world revolves around school, friendships, and her relationship with Steve Harrington. But everything changes when her best friend, Barb, disappears. This becomes the moment that shapes the rest of Nancy's journey. Instead of accepting the adults' explanations or hiding behind fear, Nancy chooses action. She investigates, asks questions, pushes boundaries, and refuses to let anyone silence her. Natalia Dyer portrays Nancy's evolution with a delicate realism that sets her apart. As the seasons progress, Nancy transforms from a teenager trying to understand the world into a woman determined to change it. Her intelligence becomes her greatest weapon. Her curiosity becomes her fuel. Her courage becomes her identity. By season 2, Nancy is fully stepping into her power-using logic, investigative skill, and emotional strength to uncover truth where others see only danger. She becomes a reporter, a strategist, and one of the most fearless fighters on the show. But Nancy's strength isn't only physical or intellectual, it's emotional. She is constantly torn between wanting a normal life and feeling a responsibility to uncover the horrors hidden in Hawkins. She wrestles with guilt, with loss, with love, and with the weight of her own choices. Natalia conveys these conflicts through subtle details: a shaky breath before confronting danger, a reserved smile hiding worry, a silent moment of reflection before charging into action. Nancy's relationships also define her growth. Her connection with Steve evolves from teenage romance into mature mutual respect. Her partnership with Jonathan becomes a symbol of teamwork built on truth and shared trauma. Her friendship with Robin reveals a lighter side of her personality, funny, awkward, and deeply human. But Nancy's true defining moment comes in season 4. In this season, Nancy steps into a leadership role unlike anything before. She becomes a strategist, coordinating the group's plan to stop Vecna. She navigates the Upside Down with calm determination, faces nightmarish visions, and stands at the center of the season's most dangerous mission. Natalia Dyer shows us a Nancy who is no longer a teenager trying to survive. She is a woman driven by conviction. Her courage isn't flashy. It isn't supernatural, it isn't loud. It's steady, logical, and fiercely loyal. Nancy is the kind of hero who faces darkness not because she isn't afraid, but because she knows no one else will do it if she doesn't. She represents strength through intelligence, bravery through choice, leadership through action. And in a series filled with monsters, powers, and supernatural chaos, Nancy Wheeler stands out as one of the most human and therefore one of the most inspiring characters of all. Natalia Dyer didn't just play Nancy, she shaped her. She elevated her. She turned her into a symbol of quiet resilience and unstoppable will. As Stranger Things moves toward its final chapter, one thing is certain. Nancy Wheeler remains one of the core hearts of the story, and Natalia Dyer's performance is a masterclass in subtle, emotional storytelling. Number 2, Sadie Sink, Career. Life and Rise to Fame. Sadie Sink's rise to stardom is a story built on discipline, depth, and undeniable talent. Born in 2002 in Brenham, Texas, Sadie didn't grow up surrounded by the Hollywood spotlight. Instead, her love for performing began on a small stage in her hometown. Even as a child, Sadie wasn't just simply playing a role. She embodied characters with an emotional honesty that instantly set her apart. Her professional journey began early. At age 10, she made the leap to Broadway, appearing in Annie, a huge opportunity for someone so young. Her dedication, focus, and maturity quickly caught the attention of casting directors. Soon after, she took on one of the biggest challenges of her early career, portraying young Queen Elizabeth II in the audience, sharing the stage with Academy Award winner Helen Mirren. Performing with an acting legend at such a young age didn't intimidate her, it refined her. Hollywood soon came calling. Sadie landed appearances in major TV series like Blue Bloods, The Americans, and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. With every role, she proved she could balance vulnerability with intensity, two qualities that would later define her most iconic character. But her breakthrough moment came in 2017 when she auditioned for Stranger Things. Competing against thousands of young actresses, Sadie worried she wasn't the right type for the part. The Duffer Brothers, however, saw something extraordinary in her. Her audition was raw, engaging, and unforgettable. She wasn't just reading lines, she was Max Mayfield before Max even existed on the page. By the time Sadie appeared in Season 2, she had already won the hearts of fans and critics alike. Her performance expanded the emotional range of the show, proving she could stand shoulder to shoulder with the established cast while adding something entirely new. Then came the role that redefined her career, starring in Taylor Swift's short film All Too Well. This performance was a revelation. Critics described it as devastatingly real, Oscar-level, and beyond her age. The emotional power she delivered in that 15-minute film stunned Hollywood. It showed the world that Sadie Sink wasn't just a rising star. She was an actress capable of commanding global attention. She continued shining in the Fear Street trilogy, demonstrating her ability to lead intense, dramatic narratives. But her most acclaimed film performance to date came with The Whale, where she acted alongside Brendan Fraser. Her portrayal of a conflicted, emotionally wounded teenager earned widespread praise. Reviewers highlighted her ferocity, raw realism, and her uncanny ability to express pain, anger, and longing with almost frightening authenticity. Her life off camera reflects the same grounded strength. Sadie is known for her calm personality, deep sense of empathy, and strong moral values. A vocal advocate for animal rights and sustainability, she adopted a vegan lifestyle and frequently uses her platform to raise awareness for environmental issues. Despite her fame, she maintains a quiet humility that has only strengthened her connection with fans. Sadie Sink's career is already impressive, yet it feels like only the beginning. With each role, she continues to evolve, challenge herself, and reveal new layers of emotional depth. But among all her performances, there's one that stands above the rest, one that transformed her into a global icon. And that is her unforgettable portrayal of Max Mayfield. Max Mayfield, the character, the pain, and the legend, Max Mayfield storms into Stranger Things in Season 2 with fiery energy. She's bold, sarcastic, fearless, and refreshingly real. She skates into Hawkins and immediately rewrites the dynamic of the group. And while she starts as the new outsider, she quickly becomes one of the emotional pillars of the entire series. Unlike many characters who rely on supernatural abilities or dramatic reveals, Max's strength comes from something far more relatable: survival. Her home life is chaotic and unstable. Her stepbrother Billy is abusive, unpredictable, and dangerous. She has grown up learning how to protect herself emotionally, how to hide her bruises behind sarcasm, and how to move forward even when everything around her is falling apart. Sadie Sink brings Max to life with an authenticity that makes every moment feel painfully real. Her confidence hides loneliness, her independence hides fear, and her sarcastic humor hides a deep need to feel safe and understood. Max isn't perfect, and that is exactly why audiences connect with her. She is flawed, complex, vulnerable, and strong in ways that go far beyond physical courage. In Season 3, Max begins to open up emotionally. She bonds with Eleven in a way neither of them expected, two very different girls who find comfort, friendship, and empowerment in each other. Their friendship becomes one of the most heartwarming and human elements of the entire show. But it's in Season 4 that Max evolves into the emotional center of Stranger Things. Haunted by Billy's violent death, she spirals into guilt, self-blame, and depression. She isolates herself, pushes friends away, and carries a silent storm inside her that no one fully understands. Sadie Sink's performance during these scenes is chillingly authentic. Her portrayal of grief and trauma is subtle, haunting, and devastating. This vulnerability becomes the very reason Max becomes one of Vecna's primary targets, because Vecna preys on pain. And Max has more pain than she knows how to carry. Then comes the iconic episode, Dear Billy, Max reading her letter at Billy's grave. The tears she holds back, the trembling voice, the sudden shift into the nightmare realm. And then the desperate run across Vecna's collapsing world as Running Up That Hill blasts in the background. It is one of the most emotionally charged scenes in modern television. Sadie Sink's performance during those moments is universally praised as one of the greatest in the entire series. Not because of visual effects or dramatic music, but because she makes Max's fear, grief, and determination feel absolutely real. She doesn't simply act, she lives the moment. Max chooses to fight. She chooses to live, and for a brief moment she escapes the darkness. But Stranger Things doesn't let her go easily. The finale of Season 4 delivers the most heartbreaking twist. Max confronts Vecna again, this time paying the ultimate price. Her bones break, her heart stops, and for several agonizing seconds, it feels like the show has taken her away forever. Her body survives, but her mind remains trapped lost in a silent void between life and death. It is one of the darkest, most tragic cliffhangers in the entire series. Max Mayfield becomes more than a character, she becomes a symbol. A symbol of resilience. A symbol of pain carried quietly. A symbol of fighting inner demons that no one else can see. A symbol of choosing life even when it hurts. Sadie Sink didn't just portray Max. She elevated her. She transformed her. She turned a fictional girl from Hawkins into an icon of emotional strength. And as the world waits for the final chapter of Stranger Things, one thing is certain. Sadie Sink and Max Mayfield are inseparable legends, each strengthening the legacy of the other. Number 1, Millie Bobby Brown's rise in the entertainment world is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in 2004 in Marbella, Spain, to British parents, Millie entered the world far from Hollywood's bright lights. No one could have predicted that this little girl, full of energy, curiosity, and imagination, would one day become one of the most influential young actresses of her generation. But from the moment Millie began performing, something became undeniably clear. She was built for the spotlight. Her family moved frequently during her early years, living in the UK, returning to Spain, and eventually settling in the United States. Even as a child, Millie had that rare combination of emotional depth and natural charisma qualities that casting directors would soon recognize. She began attending auditions in the US, and although most early roles were small, she approached each one with commitment and surprising maturity. Her first on-screen appearance came in 2013 on the ABC fantasy drama Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, where she portrayed young Alice. It wasn't a major role, but Millie's intensity and expressiveness were already evident. After that, she landed guest appearances in NCIS, Modern Family, and Grey's Anatomy, where she delivered a standout performance as a young patient dealing with an emotional crisis. Each new appearance revealed more of her potential, but Millie's journey was far from easy. Before her big break, her family struggled financially, nearly giving up on the Hollywood dream. They returned to the UK temporarily, uncertain if Millie's career would ever take off. Then, in 2015, an audition changed everything. That audition was for a mysterious new Netflix series called Stranger Things. And the character? A strange, shaved-head girl with almost no dialogue, but immense emotional weight. 11. The creators, the Duffer Brothers, immediately saw what others had only glimpsed. Millie had the rare ability to express an entire universe of emotion with just her eyes. Her audition was so powerful, so magnetic, that they knew instantly she was the missing piece that would define their show. And they were right. When Stranger Things premiered in 2016, Millie Bobby Brown became a global sensation almost overnight. Critics praised her for bringing unparalleled depth to a character who barely spoke, yet conveyed trauma, power, innocence, and rage with nothing more than expressions and gestures. 11 wasn't just another character, she became the beating heart of the series. The world had found its new icon. After the show's explosive success, Millie's career skyrocketed. She became the youngest person ever to be included in Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people. She signed major contracts, became a fashion symbol, launched her own beauty brand, and starred in blockbuster films like Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and the massively successful Enola Holmes franchise. But even with all the fame, Millie's portrayal of 11 remains the role that defined her. And that brings us to the emotional core of this story, the character who captured the world as heart. 11's story begins not with love, but with isolation. Known only as Subject 011, she was raised inside Hawkins National Laboratory, where scientists, including the cold and calculating Dr. Brenner, experimented on her psychic abilities. Her childhood was replaced by tests, pain, and manipulation. She hadn't been taught kindness or affection. She had only been taught obedience and fear. And yet, deep inside her, there was a spark, something the laboratory could not extinguish. Perhaps it was hope or instinct or raw humanity. Whatever it was, it drove her to escape. When 11 enters the world outside the lab, terrified, alone, and barely understanding language, she crosses paths with Mike Wheeler, Lucas Sinclair, and Dustin Henderson. And that single moment becomes the turning point of her life. For the first time, 11 experiences something she has never known: friendship. Mike gives her a place to stay. Lucas gives her a sense of belonging. Dustin gives her trust. Their small group becomes her first taste of real life, sleeping in a blanket fort, trying on clothes, learning words, laughing, and understanding that she is more than a lab experiment. But 11's story isn't just about innocence. It's about power, terrifying, unpredictable, world-shaking power. Her abilities are the result of years of cruel experimentation, telekinesis, remote viewing, psychic sensitivity, and eventually, the power to open and close gates between dimensions. Her mind is a weapon powerful enough to bend reality. But that power comes at a cost. Every time 11 uses her abilities, it drains her physically and emotionally. The nosebleeds, the migraines, the screams, they all show the brutal toll her powers take. And yet, she uses them anyway, not out of obligation, but out of love. She fights for her friends. She fights for the only family she's ever known. She fights because she refuses to let her past define her future. 11's journey is one of evolution. In Season 1, she is a frightened child. In Season 2, she is torn between discovering who she is and protecting those she cares about. In Season 3, she faces personal growth, learning to make choices for herself rather than following others. And in Season 4, we see her stripped of everything, forced to confront the darkest parts of her past, including the true origin of her powers and the horrors of the lab. One of the most powerful themes in 11's story is identity. She struggles with the same questions any teenager faces. Who am I? Where do I belong? What is my purpose? Am I enough? But for 11, these questions are magnified by trauma, responsibility, and the fear of becoming the weapon she was created to be. Despite all this, she grows. She strengthens. She learns to love and to be loved. Her relationship with Hopper, for example, becomes one of the most touching dynamics in the series. Hopper, a broken man grieving his own past, becomes the father 11 desperately needed. Their bond is messy, emotional, protective, and deeply healing for both of them. 11 represents more than a character. She is a symbol of resilience, identity, and the triumph of humanity over cruelty. Her journey mirrors the struggle many people face when trying to break free from a painful past. This emotional complexity is exactly why the world fell in love with her. 11 is both fragile and fierce, innocent and dangerous, soft and unstoppable. She is a paradox, one that Millie Bobby Brown brought to life with astonishing skill. The bond between Millie and 11 is undeniable. Millie didn't just play 11, she became her. Every expression, every tear, every scream, every moment of quiet vulnerability was shaped with precision and heart. It's rare for an actor to define a generation. It's even rarer for an actor to do so before turning 14. But Millie Bobby Brown did exactly that. With 11, she created a character that will remain iconic for decades, a symbol of power, trauma, friendship, sacrifice, and hope. Through Millie's eyes, 11 became real. And through 11, Millie became a legend.